Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome to our coffee times together. Today and new in this channel, I have my new mug. I am trying not to buy too many mugs because, let's face it, I have a problem. But when I saw this one, it says bitchin. It says bitchin and it's red and black that I love and it's big. And let's be honest, when it comes to coffee, size does matter.
It's coffee time!
Alright guys, today I am here to talk to you about thinking of ending things, both the book and the movie. I read the book back in April and I really enjoyed it, and I knew it was a book that I was going to reread at some point, and I gave it 4 coffee mugs. So when Netflix was coming out with a movie, I'm like, this is perfect. I'm going to reread the book, take notes, and then watch the movie, take notes, and make this video review for you guys. So we are going to be talking about both the book and the movie, and this video is going to contain spoilers for both, so you have been warned. Before we move into the topic of the day, if you love horror and you love books, you are in the right place. So please consider subscribing and also click the notification bell so you're notified every time that I upload a new coffee time. So the book was published in 2016 by Ian Reid, and this was actually his debut novel. What an amazing book as a debut novel. And I know this is a book that people are either gonna love it or they're gonna hate it, but I absolutely loved it because it brought something new to the concept of horror thriller, and it left so many things open for interpretation. It's a book that when you start reading, you have so many questions and you need to go on with the book to kind of answer those questions, and it is a very complex story. I absolutely loved it. And the movie is directed by Charlie Kaufman, and it came out on Netflix on the 4th of September. It is 2 hours and 14 minutes, so it is not short, even though the book was only around 240 pages. So I was kind of expecting that they would stretch the story. They did change things, which is also something that you can expect when you have a book adaptation. But let's go into detail to figure out which things they changed. Is it good? Is it bad to change that? And we will end up, summing up everything to give a verdict. If you have not read the book, but you're still listening because you don't mind spoilers, the book was kind of like watching a Christopher Nolan movie. You kind of don't know where things are going. You're kind of confused. You're kind of trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. But in the end, it makes sense, and it makes more and more sense the more times that you read the book or watch Christopher Nolan's movies. Let's go to point 1, the beginning. So the beginning, both of the book and the film are fairly similar. We have a character that's speaking to us. We still don't know if this is a female or a male voice, and they're telling us that they're thinking of ending things. Now, this is a very broad concept at the beginning, and you are unsure if they are talking about suicide or if they're talking about ending a relationship. So at the very beginning, we are already kind of left in the dark about what this book is really about, what the title really means, and we're introduced to this couple that are going to take a road trip to visit Jake's, the boyfriend's parents, and you start to hear the girlfriend talking about thinking of ending things. So you obviously assume that she's talking about ending their relationship. They've only been together for like around 7 weeks, so it's like a fresh relationship. And it's kind of interesting because in the book you have the feeling that she likes him, that she's attracted to him, but she's unsure if she wants to go to the next level with him, even though she's visiting his parents. But in the movie you have this feeling that she's uncomfortable, that she doesn't like to be there, that she doesn't even like him. Like, you don't see them so much as a couple in the movie. And I feel like that is the directors trying to point out what the big reveal is going to show us later on. because they left out so many things from the book that I guess this is something that they used to kind of let the viewer know something's wrong between these two characters. Point number 2 here, we're going to talk about the 2 timelines. So in the book, they did 2 timelines. So you're following our couple while they're in the car driving to this parents' house, and there are some chapters of only like 1 or 2 pages that are in between, and they are telling you something that's going to happen in the future. The police is going to find a dead body. Something really gruesome happened to this person, and they just found the dead body of this guy, and you're questioning all the time, who is this guy? Is it Jake? Is it not? Did he kill himself? Did somebody kill him? And that is for me what was building up a lot of tension in the book, what was kind of like a big mystery that I was hoping to be revealed at the end, which we got the big reveal. But in the movie, the second timeline is kind of erased. It doesn't exist. The only thing that we get as a kind of second timeline to show a little bit the future is that we get to see little snippets of a janitor that is working in a high school, and we get to see him go through his regular day life, and he seems very lonely and miserable, which would fit with the character that in the book was found dead, because the police keep saying that he was a loner, he was always alone, nobody knew what he was going through, etc. So I think that the movie went to another direction. Instead of showing the dead body and the police, they just showed us this janitor as a kind of like the future version of what's going to happen. And for me, that was okay, but I would have loved still to see the end that the book has. We will get into that later, but the movie did not end the same way that the book did, and part of the reason why I didn't like it was because the second timeline that we get in the book was so important to me, and that is completely missing in the movie. Number 3, the name and the stalker. So in the book, we learn that the girlfriend is getting a mysterious call from a guy, always leaving really cryptic messages. And funny enough, all of these calls that she's getting are coming from her own phone. And she also talks about a guy that used to watch her through the window and things that creeped her out about this guy. And so we're assuming that something's wrong with this. You start to question if this guy that is calling her, who is this guy? Why is he calling from her own number? So at the beginning it doesn't make sense, but later on it will click. In the movie, we also have her having these calls, and we also see this man that is apparently watching her. But in the movie they give her names, like every couple of scenes they change her name. I am a little bit unsure on the purpose of that. I understand that they gave her a name so that when you see her phone calling, you're like, oh, she's called Lucy, and the incoming call says Lucy, like why is she calling herself? I get that, but why change the name over and over again if it's still the same girl? Like, I don't know. I think this is again something that it's trying to show what the twist is gonna be later, but for me, just giving her one name and have that person call over and over again would have been enough. Number 4, the parents' home. So the moment that the couple gets to the parents' home, that's when both in the book and in the movie we get like a heavy shift, and where really the weird stuff starts to happen, which is making you question things even more. So in the book, when they get to the parents' house, and they meet the parents, it gets really weird. They start saying things that are weird, they behave really awkward, and there are a couple of discoveries that we get. So there is a basement, and apparently there are some scratching marks, and this basement can only be locked from the inside, and I kind of associated that to a parallel of later on when our characters are locked in the high school. That will come later. So you know, it's again the feeling of being locked somewhere, being trapped. And there's also something else that they included as well in the movie, which is they saw a picture and Jake said, oh, that's me as a kid, but then the girlfriend was like, no, that's me. And that is one of the biggest things that they put both in book and the movie to make the viewer understand that these characters are the same. So that is part of the big twist. We understand that Jake is all of these characters. It's all in his head. In the movie, they did address something that we also got to read in the book, which is basically that the home had really old stuff, you know, like the decoration, the things that they had, everything was super old, but everything was clean and neat and organized. So it's kind of letting you know that this is part of somebody's memory, kind of, it's like your imagination. And also in the movie, something that they did that I thought it was really clever is that the parents and Jake and the girlfriend are sitting in the same table, and the camera shifts, kind of leaving the room, and when it comes back, you only see her sitting there, which is giving you the impression that she's by herself. And I thought that was really clever, because basically in this movie we only have one character. Everything else, it's made up. Number 5, multiple personalities. So I figured out in the book that our main character was kind of imagining things, and he either had multiple personality disorder or he was just imagining things in his head, seeing things as if it was like a movie. There are some signs that kind of let us know that this is the case. In the book there is something also really important that is mentioned, like he had this brother but he's not in the picture anymore, and you kind of understand that Jake is the brother actually. There's also a lot of things mentioning kind of being sick or old, which is something that Jake is experiencing, and he is having trouble to come terms with the fact that he's alone, getting old, and having all of these health issues. His hair is falling. They kind of do it so intelligently in the book, like the mother is supposed to have this condition where she's losing her hair, but the fact is that Jake is getting older and he's losing his hair. So all of these things that are so smart in the book that I absolutely adored. Basically, apart from his family that it's normal that he has memories from, this girlfriend is just somebody he saw one day at a bar, and he never had the guts to talk to her. So he's kind of playing in his mind what things could have happened, how his life could have been if he had, back in the day, talked to this girl and she would have become his girlfriend. So in the movie, the part, you know, of the parents' house and all of this exploration of, you know, the characters, it's a little bit too over the top for me. I mean, the performances of Toni Collette and everybody were amazing. I mean, the acting in this movie is great. It's nothing against that, but I think they took this a little bit too much over the top. So in the movie, while in the parents' house, we get to see a couple of things that let us know that all of these images, all of these scenes that are playing for us are in the past. So basically we get to see a dog, the family dog, and then later on the girlfriend goes to Jake's childhood room and she sees an urn with the dog's remains, and so you're like, oh, those images we were seeing, that's the past, that's already happened. And you get to see the parents also age, get sick, and all of it. So every time a door opens, you know, the parents are older, sicker. So it's kind of like Jake going through his mind. Every time he opens a door, he's opening another part of his life that was in a way important for him, or like a scene that he keeps replaying in his head when his mom was sick, because he was a loner that had trouble to talk to other people, to talk to women. So for him, his parents were everything. So when he lost them, he kind of felt, you know, lonelier than he would ever be. Number 6, some similarities and some differences. So both in book and movie, they go to Dairy Queen after they leave the parents' house. But in the book, our girlfriend character has a dairy intolerance, which she does not have in the movie. However, they do have something in common, both book and movie, that is really important for the story, and that is that one of the girls that works at Dairy Queen has a rash on her skin, and the rash in the book is explained that it's a sign for fear, and this character tells our female character that she should be afraid, she should be scared, something's gonna happen to her. And that was an important turning point both in the book and in the movie, so I'm glad that they included that. Also, both in the book and in the movie, we don't really have a plot. It's more kind of like an exploration of character, an exploration of Jake's mind and what's happening to him. In the book, they do not talk so much about the fact of, you know, getting older and dying in so in intense way as the movie does. The movie really puts a lot of importance on the fact that our main character is scared of getting old, getting sick, and dying, and that is one of the main things for the movie, which for me in the book was there, but it was not as intense as in the movie was. They put a lot of attention to that when it comes to mentioning it in dialogues, and it's something that we get to see as the ending in this case. We'll get to that, but the ending is very strong in just like kind of addressing that fear of getting old and dying. Let's go to our last point, which is the ending. So basically in the book, I really loved it because we saw Jake go into this building, into this high school where nobody was supposed to be inside, only the janitor, and he didn't come out, so the girlfriend had to go in to search for him. And at some point our character realizes that she's locked in, and then she starts to talk as a we. So that's when our characters really merge, and when you realize that Jake is by himself and in his head, and basically that's what's been happening all this time, and he's there to end things at the high school. And it becomes kind of like a, for me it felt a little bit like The Shining. I just have to make this comparison, you know, like Jack Torrance losing his mind in the Overlook Hotel. That's how it felt to me. We have this old man, he's a janitor, he feels like his life is empty, he doesn't have anybody anymore, he's lonely, and he does comment in the book, you know, if we don't have anybody, is it life worth it? Does it make any sense? And he's kind of reflecting on the fact that maybe it's just better, you know, just to die. And then at the very end of the book, you realize that the police, the body that they have discovered is Jake's body in a closet in this high school because he has taken his own life. And that was such a powerful message, and it was such an amazing story, such an amazing journey, and the book was so smart, and I absolutely loved every little bit of it. Actually, when I reread it, I gave it half a coffee mug more, so from 4 I went to 4.5 because I loved it even more the second time around, because I already knew what was going to happen, so I was able to see a lot more of little details from the beginning. Now in the movie, we also have the girlfriend going to the high school looking for Jake, but then she sees the janitor, and a lot of things are supposed to be clicking in the viewer's mind, like, you know, oh, this guy is wearing a shirt that she previously saw in the laundry room at Jake's parents, and the shoes that he's holding for her, it's the ones that she was wearing at Jake's parents, and you kind of start realizing that we're talking about the same character, but it is not easy to put 2 and 2 together in the movie. I completely think that if you have not read the book, you're gonna be really lost. Really lost, because for me a lot of things made sense because I had already read the book twice, so I already knew what was gonna happen. However, the movie ended with a musical number. You heard right, it ended with a musical number, and truth be told, I don't have anything against musicals or musical numbers, but it was just odd because after reading the book and having such a bloody, kind of messed up ending, disturbing, and then you get like a musical of a guy who is old and is only talking to old people, and I don't know, it was just like a little bit over the top artsy, and I didn't like it because it was not horror thriller-ish. It was just like more of a artsy drama ending or something like that. I did not really like it that much, but I guess it's because I knew the book, so I was expecting like a more powerful, disturbing ending. So like I said, I was not really happy with the ending of the movie. Also, you know, when you adapt a book, you cannot expect the viewer to know the source material. You should be able to watch the movie and understand it without having read the book. And a lot of people that I know that have tried to watch the movie but they were not familiar with the book, They were really confused, they didn't understand, they thought it was boring. And I get it, because honestly, when I watched the movie, I was like, there's no way in hell that people are gonna watch this and enjoy it unless they know the book. And I think that's a negative thing. You're supposed to make a movie that everybody's going to understand, even though it's based in a book, but you should not force people to read the book first. You know what I mean? Even though people should. But it should be standing on its own, and I just think it's not possible if you don't know the source material, but maybe it's just me. But anyways, I did enjoy the movie. There were a lot of good parts about it. The visuals were stunning. We are talking about a couple that is traveling, you know, through a snowstorm, and there were little like beautiful things, like when they got these drinks from Dairy Queen, the top looked like covered in snow. Like the color palette was wonderful. It was mostly like cold tones, more like pale blues and greens, and it was also shot in narrow frame like the Nightingale was. It was very beautifully shot, and the dialogues were amazing. I absolutely loved the dialogues. The acting was great, so the score was great. Like the movie was really well done, but I have to admit I didn't like the ending. And also, if you have not read the book, you're not really gonna understand this film. I have the impression that the director took a topic that was really complex but kind of simple at the same time, and he turned it into something too over the top, too artsy, and for me kind of backfired a little bit, to be honest. I thought that the book was just the simple portrayal of a man that is a loner, that is having trouble socializing or talking to women, has lost his parents, and he's very frustrated with life, and he starts to get too much into his head to the point where he decides that getting older alone is not something that he wants, as he sees, you know, his hair falling and him getting sicker, having stomach problems. All of these things are discussed in the book, and then he decides that he will just rather end things. And it's so heartbreaking and so powerful, and I think that the movie kind of took that away, you know, and the ending was nothing like that, and I hated the end, okay? Let's full disclosure here, I hated the end, okay? I hated it. So of course the verdict here is I love the book way more than the movie. I give the book a 4.5 coffee mug rating. The movie I still have not rated because I'm thinking of giving it only 3. I'm not sure, I'm kind of thinking about it still in my head, but definitely the book was better, and you're gonna need to read the book anyways if you want to watch the movie. So there you go. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, you guys. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening to my thoughts on it. Let me know down below, have you read the book, have you watched the movie? I will be really interested to hear from you guys. If you've only watched the movie, what did you think of it? Or if you've read the book, do you still want to watch the movie after this video? Let me know in the comments, let's talk about it. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Please give the video a big thumbs up for support, and if you want to follow me in other social media, as always, the links are down below. And I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!